Alright guys, now we're going to do a final judgment for Pokemon Snap, which is our first blast from the past playthrough. You can check that out right now on our channel.
And the parody's out.
And the parody's out as well. It's probably, we've only made 2, but it's a lot better than the first one.
Yeah.
So go check that out. So Dante's not here with us. He is busy. So he cannot be, he will not be taking part in this review.
Even though he was in the playthrough.
Yeah, but what are you going to do about it? Anyway, as you know, but in case you're new, we're going to tell you how this works. We have 5 categories: gameplay, graphics, audio, plot, and replay value. We rate each thing out of 10, and then give us closing thoughts and then our final scores for the game. So, Adolfo will take things first with gameplay, so here you go.
Alright, I give it a 7 because for its time it is a pretty addicting game, you know, the camera is alright, good and everything.
Oh yeah.
Press A to throw an apple instead, it's pretty fun.
Play a hit down to start play some jamming tunes,
yeah.
man.
Play the flute.
Play the flute, the Poke Flute from Professor Oak.
Professor Oak.
Alright, I'll give it a 8.5 because, I mean, I really love this game. As a kid, I had this game and I just beat it like that, and I started playing it over and over and over because I loved the gameplay. I mean, yeah, Pokemon, okay, we love it anyway. I love Pokemon, but
if you were a kid in the 90s, you loved Pokemon.
yeah, it's like a rule. You have to.
And Dragon Ball Z too.
Dragon Ball Z, yeah, Chris is behind the camera. Don't you think?
Hi, I'm Chris.
We're not cutting that out. Screw it, it's funny. It's funny. Views, give us views, please. Up next we have graphics. So.
Alright, for its time, I give it a 7. It was pretty good graphics, you know, it's still blocky here and there, but it's still pretty good. You can tell who the Pokemon are and everything.
Yeah, I also gave it a 7 because once again, for its time, it's pretty good. Of course, like your character, who you name yourself, we call him Raster, it has very blocky hands, like exactly squares.
And if you look in the beginning video, his hand looks like a wrench.
Yeah, it's like a freaking little wrench. But the Pokemon actually do look pretty good, and they did put some effort into rendering the Pokemon. Up next, we have audio.
I gave that a 6. You know, it's pretty good, and you know, Professor Oak's voice does get a little annoying.
Wonderful.
Ah, yes, wonderful.
I give it a 4 because, you know, honestly, it didn't really, the voice acting sucked, but then again, it is a game from the 90s, 2 generations ago, so what are you gonna do? There was like no actual score to it. I mean, there was like, every level had a little bit, but it was so low.
I think the one that I remember is the one where you're getting reviews.
Yeah, I mean, that one's there because that was actually probably louder than the actual voice acting for once. But for most of the time, you're too busy because the Pokemon are loud. Like, you're in the tunnel and the Electrode explode, and there's like so much stuff going on that you can't really hear the score. But then again, back then, scores weren't as important. Up next is the plot.
Oh god, the plot.
There's a plot?
Yes.
There is a plot. There is a plot.
I give it a 3 because I really don't get it. You gotta take pictures for some reason of Pokemon doing stuff.
I gave it a 1 because, I mean, there is a plot there. There really is. It's like you're trying to figure out these, like, it doesn't really kick in at all until you get almost every map unlocked. Right before you get the rainbow one, the rainbow cloud, where Oak's are like, oh yes, you must find these Pokemon signs and take pictures. And you're like, okay, I guess that's our plot. Because that apparently has a link to Mew.
Yeah. Which is like your main objective.
Yeah, you just get a picture of Mew. As I guess the opening kind of foreshadows that. So.
Yeah.
But either way, it's still only a 1. The replay value.
I give it a 2. You know me, like not being a very big Pokemon fan anymore, I wouldn't play through it twice.
If this was about 10 years ago, I would give this a 10. Because this game was one of my favorite games from the Nintendo 64 as a kid. And it's still pretty good now. Every now and then I do bust out the 64 and I do play it. So I gave it the 4, I think, really fits because even now I can replay it. But I won't play it over and over and over again. I will wait a couple months, if not a year. Closing thoughts?
Good game for its time, not so much anymore.
Yeah, of course. I mean, look at the games now. You have Infamous, and you have Uncharted, and the Batman Arkham series.
Catherine coming soon.
Catherine coming out the end of this month.
Yeah.
I mean,
hopefully a Kingdom Hearts 3 before we're 20.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Before 20. We might get there. We might get there. Alright, so our final scores?
I give it a 5. It's a really good game for its time, but now, you know, it's kind of,
I gave it a 4.5. Of course, as I said, if this was a couple of years, like 10 years ago, I would easily give this like a 7 or an 8. But it's a little below par, even for its time, because you did have Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, and that
Super Mario 64.
Super Mario 64 games, like big Nintendo games, like Star Fox 64. Those games were
Kirby 64.
Yeah, all the 64 games just kind of took the forefront. So even now, back then, I'd still probably put it below average, even including Pokemon games like Pokemon Stadium.
But especially Zelda, it's a Zelda stage. I mean, it's on a second remake and it's still considered a masterpiece.
Yeah, freaking Ocarina of Time 3D. But alright, that's going to be it for our review. And someone's staring at us through that window, and that's kind of creepy. We're not looking at you, dude. Whatever.
Alright.
Cute.
Later.